Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardeners. I'm your co-host for today, Mike Bailey, along with Ellen DePlacido. Ellen, good evening.
I know. I was waiting to see if you said good morning. Good evening, Mike.
Yes. Okay, this is unusual for us. Okay, we had some problems, technical problems earlier, and okay, we had to delay recording, so it's now evening. Okay,
hmm
so what are we going to talk about today, Ellen?
Well, today we're going to start talking about July garden reminders.
Ah,
We're nearing the end of July, so there's little things we need to take a look at in our gardens.
that's a good idea. I
hmm
like this kind of walk around the garden. We've called it that in the past.
hmm
Okay, and kind
hmm
of taking a look at things and reminding each other of things that we could have done or should have done or might have done.
Kind of wish we had
We
done.
wish we had done. And all
Right.
gardeners are all when it comes to that, all gardeners are the same. But and there's some things we glad we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
hmm
So what do you want? Where are you going to start?
Well, how about garlic? Because right now it is harvest time, hopefully, for your garlic. So if those plants have died down, it's time, to harvest the bulbs. So when you harvest your garlic, don't pull it out, dig it out. Hopefully the soil is a little dry, not too moist. And then cut those stems off about 2 to 3 inches above the bulb, and then cure those bulbs in a well ventilated location, but not in the direct sun. And it might take a few weeks until they are actually dried enough or cured.
Right, and the
hmm
garlic from Emma's garden is still sitting in my garage,
Is
spread
it?
spread out on a table, and has been there for about 3 weeks. Got to bring it down to the garden, and we got to kind of give it away the way we're supposed to. So,
Right.
but I think it's looking real good.
Good,
So what
good.
what about the
Yeah,
onions? In garlic and onions, if I can just interject,
sure.
we have another program coming up here in the next several programs where we're going to talk kind of in depth on harvesting garlic and harvesting onions. So
hmm
if you we didn't we're not shortchanging you there. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ellen.
Well, they should be bulbing up pretty nicely right now. You just want to remember to keep the weeds out and let those plants die back, then harvest them and cure as you do the garlic in a cool, and then store them in a cooler location. One thing I learned this year, Mike, is to give your onions a little bit of fertilization fertilizer also,
Yeah,
and mine are doing really
they're
well.
they're hungry little buggers, aren't they? They like to
Yeah,
eat.
they
Yeah,
are. They take
they
up a
do.
lot.
And we got them in early. We gave them some food, and we kept them moist. And
Moist.
yours are doing well. The Emmaus garden onions are doing well, and mine are doing very well also. So
Good, good.
I'm pleased. Something
Maybe it's the year.
well, no, maybe we did something
No,
right for a change.
we
Okay.
did. Okay.
What's next on our list?
Tomatoes. And tomatoes, if you did not tie them up when you planted them, you want to tie them up now. Keep them off the soil, which could, so that they don't catch a lot of diseases. And trim off those lower leaves. All right. You don't want those touching the soil either. And cut out some of the suckers because they're not going to produce any fruit anyway. They're just taking up nutrients. And keep that soil evenly moist. Now's the time to watch for insects too, aphids and tomato hornworms. And so you can do that by maintaining some mulch around your plants. Keep that mulch around your tomato plants.
Okay. Can I add a few things, please? Okay,
Sure.
fine. The other thing, you don't want to over fertilize your tomato plants. If you over fertilize them, you get a lot of vegetative growth, and you might not even get a lot of flowers, and therefore you won't get a lot of tomatoes. So you got to be careful about that. And the other thing is, if you get a lot of rapid growth, the aphids love that, and it'll attract those
Mm-hmm.
aphids, so you'll get a lot of bugs
Mm-hmm.
and too. So taper off that a little bit, depending upon how your tomatoes look. If they look like they need something to eat, fine, feed them. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
don't overdo it. And keep the soil evenly moist so you don't get that bottom end rot.
Right. Right.
And uh, people. That's one of the most common questions we get. There's bottom end rot, and then you look up in the literature and it says it's caused by a calcium deficiency. Give them some calcium. Well, You know, that's true in a way, but if you give them some water, the plant will take up the calcium that's in the
Right.
soil. So
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
matter of maintaining the even moisture. So if you got some blossom end rot, which is the bottom of the tomato where the blossom was,
Mhm.
that's starting to turn brown. Uh, take those tomatoes off, get rid of them. They're not going to get any better. Okay, and
Right.
then start
Right.
keeping the soil around your tomato plants evenly moist, and you'll get past that problem. The other thing that I kind of wanted to mention about tomato plants,
I was
you
going
know,
to wonder if
you
you were
know,
going to mention
yeah,
that.
yes, you're right. Okay, and we've talked about this earlier in the year when,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
people get all concerned about, starting their plants real early, et cetera, and stuff like that. And I got to start my tomatoes in March in order for that, have them ready for putting out in May and this and that, whatever. Otherwise, I won't get any tomatoes. Well, I direct seeded some tomatoes into my garden on the 1st of June. Yes, I put the
Mhm.
seeds directly into the soil and I kept them moist. I kind of pampered them for the first couple of weeks because
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
weather's warmer and you need to do that. You need to keep them moist. But those plants are nice and big and healthy now, and they're starting to get buds on them. So
Great.
here it is,
Awesome.
20th
Mhm.
of July right now. So what is that? Yeah, that's about 7+ weeks. Okay, that they've been out there, and they're doing very well.
Good.
So
Good.
and with peppers, you know, you need to take care of them also. Okay. And
Mhm.
again, it's cut off those lower diseased leaves. Okay. Maintain that mulch under them. This is one plant that you may very well want to fertilize. If they look a little peaked, go ahead and give them some fertilizer and support those plants because as they form peppers, those peppers get heavy, especially if you let them
Yeah.
ripen up the way they're supposed to.
Right.
And we had a discussion the other day at the garden. Well, when's it ripe? Okay, well, take it,
Mhm.
feel it, especially the sweet peppers, okay, and squeeze
Mhm.
it. If it's nice and firm, if it's got a nice thick wall, that's when they're best, okay? If the wall
Yeah.
still has a lot of give to it, hold off a little bit, let it mature a little bit, and keep the weeds out of the peppers. And
Right.
and Ellen, I'm sorry
We're out of time.
we've already used up our time, and
That's okay.
we got a few
Yeah,
more things to go. So we're going to pick
we
up on
do.
this next time. So thank you for listening today, and we'll be back with you shortly. Bye bye.
Bye.